Hey Tara, how's it going? Thank you for joining me today.
Hey Frank, I'm good. How are you?
Good, I'm excited. I've been raving about this for a while now and obviously promoting it on the podcast. Definitely want to thank you for being my first guest officially on Let's Talk Frank, who, by the way, you've helped me kind of, you know, motivate me to get this project going. So, thank you so much.
Yeah,
But definitely, it's exciting to be able to demonstrate to my friends and everybody who's going to be tuning in
yeah,
your abilities and how your abilities help me and how we want to eventually help others. You know what I mean? In that respect.
definitely.
So I guess we'll start off with a few questions. I'm sure people want to get to know Tara.
Okay.
So Tara, how long have you been a psychic medium?
Okay, so my journey started about 10, 11 years ago. Yeah, so it started after I was had my first baby. And from there it just grew and grew and grew and grew. So it's been 10 years and it's been a wild journey. It's been a humbling experience. And the people that I've talked to and the readings I've given, it's been mind blowing every time.
Yeah. And so part of that too is like, how did you discover that ability? Like, how did it, when did you first become aware of, those little, I talk to dead people kind of vibes?
Okay, so it was not really easy for me at all when I had my daughter. It was like this overwhelming feeling of I just wasn't myself, and I didn't know what it was. And my mom was like, "Tara, like you're just not you. Like what is going on?" And I didn't know. Like I always kind of felt a presence as a kid, but I never really knew anything about it. I was always told like, "Oh, ghosts don't exist," or like psychics aren't real, or you don't know that stuff. So I was always like just push that aside and being like, nah, like it's nothing. So after my daughter was born and my mom was like, you're just not you, like you're not your happy, bubbly, normal self. Like we gotta figure this out. And I'm like, okay. So randomly she's like, you know what, there's a psychic fair going on. And I'm like, okay, like that's okay, let's do it. Like I think it's cool.
Mhm.
And I went to the psychic fair with my mom, and there was a Reiki practitioner there. And I don't know if you know much about Reiki. I know you and I've touched on it.
Yeah,
But
about
for
the
those who
energies,
don't know, yeah, it's like this
energy healing.
healing energy. So I sat down with her and she put her hands on me. And I just felt finally like a sense of peace. And like I was like at home with it. And I was like, I need to learn Reiki. And so after talking to her for a few minutes, then I went and sat down with a psychic, and she's like, I think you need to learn Reiki. And I'm like, shit, no way. I figured that out too. So I went
Uh-huh.
back to this girl who does the Reiki, and she offered courses. So I
Mhm.
went to her course, and I think it was like a 3 day course. And the first day I got there, we meditated, and I remember being so out of body. It sounds crazy, but I was not here. Like I even had a hard time coming back from the meditation into my like physical presence, and it was mind blowing. But in that course that she had, that 3 day weekend, it was
Yeah.
like I learned how to ground myself and protect and connect. So I learned how to connect to a higher energy. And with that higher energy was coming through of messages. So in this weekend of Reiki, I learned to like voice what I was getting for these
Mhm.
people, like the other students in the class we'd practice. And everyone's like, oh my God, how did you know that? Like what? How did, like, I don't understand. How do you know this information? And I'm just like, I don't know. I have no idea. Like, you're telling me I'm right? Right? Like, you don't know you're
Yeah.
psychic until someone's like, holy crap, how did you know that? So the biggest part is like being validated for what I was getting.
Yeah.
So then I was like, oh, like this is like intense. Like I know more than the other people, but all the people here are spiritual and connecting. But there was just a different level of accuracy and a different level of like deep knowing.
Yeah.
And so that's when it really started to happen for me. And that was more of like the psychic part of it, getting the messages that were related to the people.
Mhm.
For the mediumship, what happened with that, like talking to our loved ones or ghost or energy that hasn't crossed over, which can be scary. But that part, it was like I learned in Reiki, I was like, okay, I'm coming back for the second course of Reiki. And in that one, I met a girl who is so close to my heart, and we are still friends to this day. And um, she always already was a medium, and I was
Yeah.
telling her that I was like really felt like there was a presence in my house, and I didn't know what to do with it. And she's like, "Well, you're probably connecting to them." And I'm like, "Lots of people do feel ghosts and lower energy." And
Yeah.
so
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like,
Well, I
"Okay."
definitely do.
Yeah, and it's scary, right? You're like, "Oh my God, like what's here?" Like, "Ah!" Like,
I'm
get up,
I'm telling
right?
you, I'm telling you now, like anytime I get shivers, like
Oh,
that's real for me.
ooh,
Like, you know
yeah,
what I mean? Like, and obviously I've shared some stories with you, but anytime I think about somebody and then I get that shiver as soon as I think about them,
yeah,
like I know they have visited me. They have validated that yes, I'm here. I'm here with you. And
absolutely.
it's
Yeah,
crazy. And a lot of this is crazy. This is kind of why I love having you here, is to really teach people that we need to listen to our bodies. We need to feel
yeah,
these, you know what I mean? Really feel this, because,
yes,
they are present. Like our loved ones are present. They are guiding us. They are helping us through this journey. And being open and aware, hence why mind, body, and soul, once you're aware and situationally aware in your life, you will be able to receive these messages, and
yes,
it will really guide you. So, and
yes.
Tara, this is like all this is credited to you, you know what I mean? And that's why I'm so excited to have you here to talk about this. So,
Thank you. I'm
anyway,
glad
sorry.
it's been a good journey for you with us reconnecting.
Yes, for
Um,
sure.
yeah, so then my girlfriend who was a medium, she came over to my house and she's like, "Okay, you know what? We're gonna connect to my grandpa." And instantly she just even just saying that we were doing it, I
Hmm.
felt him. And
Oh,
for
yeah.
me in the beginning of talking to and connecting to loved ones, I would turn beet red and just cry. And I couldn't, because I couldn't understand the energy. So at that time, I wasn't really able to get a message. I was just too overwhelmed with the energy, feeling, sensation. And even like part before I went to Reiki and learned Reiki, I was feeling all this energy, but I didn't know that it was energy. And I honestly was like, felt claustrophobic whenever I went out into public. I was actually picking up the energy of all the spirits in source and loved ones, but I didn't know. And so I felt like I was claustrophobic. So if I'd go out to like Costco or the farmer's market, like I would literally like hide into whoever I'm with, like back, or like just like cover myself up because I didn't know what it was.
Yeah,
So
that's crazy.
yeah, so it's just a matter of meeting the right people to teach you how to connect, how to protect, and then being able to get so comfortable with it and giving some, you know, rules, I guess, in a sense, to source, be like, okay, this is when you can connect. This is how I want you to connect. And then finally, eventually, I was able to stop crying when I'd connect to
Yeah.
somebody and actually give a message. So
Mhm.
it was a learning curve, but that's how it all happened about 10, 11 years now ago.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. And you know what? I just wanted to point out too, like you obviously, worked on those abilities too, right? Once you had your child, from the sound of it, it's kind of
Yeah.
when your life started to change. And, and it happens, right? For a lot of women, hormonal changes, for example, things like
Yeah.
that, like maybe allergies, they weren't, it's just crazy what childbirth does
Yeah.
to you guys. It's crazy because it really changes as a woman. I can imagine it just changes you completely, right? And
Yeah.
obviously your maternal instincts, kick up into high gear as well, that sort of thing.
Totally.
But yeah, I just wanted to point out that obviously you had somebody to help you kind of harness this energy and
Yeah.
learn these abilities, because like just hearing what you were saying about you're afraid, like it was.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine what that would feel like. It's like you're like in a baseball stadium and it's like all
Yeah.
these people are on top of you and you're just like, no, get out of here. What am I doing?
Yeah. That's
So
exactly how I felt. It's exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
so I mean it's crazy. Now I kind of wanted to I'm going to switch a little bit of gears here for a quick second, but um I know you had, like I said, you had a coach. They so I'm going to talk about some of the skeptics right now. Okay.
Okay.
So what
Yeah.
I'm going to say is, you know, because when you're connecting, for example, to loved ones and that sort of thing, from what I heard from skeptics, they say, well, you know, they're very general. They're like, yeah, does your name start with like an A, B, C? Like, you know, they're like, you know, or some, you know, they keep saying that, or like, yeah, did your loved one die like from here, something around here? You know what I mean? And, you know,
Yeah.
if you can kind of, do you understand what I'm asking? Like, you know,
Yeah.
how does that work? How do
How
they
do I
give you those
validate?
messages? How do you
Yeah.
validate? There you go. So,
Okay.
yeah, hopefully you can understand the question
Yes,
from
totally,
that.
right? And it is different for everyone I connect to, right? So like I've been
Mm,
doing this for 10 years. I've probably given over 1,000 readings by now. Some of them are psychic, some of them are mediumship. But the validation really does depend on the person I'm connecting to, right? Like depending on their strength and their ability and who they are as a person, they'll come through differently compared to, you know, your grandma might come through completely different than, you know, my friend's brother, right? So
yeah.
the validation, though, a lot of times for me, what I'll do, and I mean, there's no guarantee of who will come through. It's sort of like picking up the phone and calling a house and not knowing who's going to answer. And then they switch. They'll be like, no, no, it's my turn to take the phone. So sometimes it gets to be different. So when I started to learn this, I asked them, I gave them signs like, okay, if you're a female energy, be on this side. If you're a male energy, kind of feel this way on me. But they'll come
Interesting.
through with like sometimes I'll feel like I know what they look like, or I'll get a good sense. Like the biggest part is like if you ever go see a medium, like don't tell me or them who you want to connect to, right? Like part of that is like, oh, you lost your brother, or oh, you lost your dad. Like instantly just knowing the fact who it is in relationship to you is part of it. So don't tell anybody. Like just say, I want to connect to loved ones, and then be open minded who's coming through. So knowing the relationship to you is usually something that, like is key for me. Then it depends. I'm like, then I'll get either what they'll look like or a bit of their personality. A lot of times I do get how they passed away. And that is like, it's tricky because like I'll get something that's in the heart, but maybe it's their throat. And yes, sometimes it does sound general, but then they validate with more and more things, right? So for example, if it was a head trauma or they lost their memory, for example, like if they had Alzheimer's, I'll just feel a really weird pulsation in my head. And so, like, yeah, it's hard to decipher exactly what they passed away from, but then that's where it's key to get more information. And I won't stop asking for validation from the loved one until my client and I are comfortable with, like, okay, for sure we're connected. And then that's when they'll come through with other things um, like one of them was like a cousin, and it's like that came through. And this story is very, you know, it always sticks to me because it's like they came through instantly that it was a cousin best friend. And for me, I gave spirit rules like, okay, if you're a cousin or a best friend, I want you to feel like you're linking to my arm. And he did. And he sat down and I was like, oh my God, like I just instantly felt this like huge pressure at the back of my head. And I knew that he was like killed. I knew that he was shot in the head. And it was like so devastating to have to like give this information. Like, I don't want to know that. Like, no, 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 no. Like, there's no way that's how you passed away. So it's scary being on my end too, being like, oh my God, like, is this really accurate? Like, this is what happened. And so they'll do it in all different ways. Sometimes I will get a name, but the name will come through with some kind of way that I know the name. So if I've never heard of the name before, it might be difficult to even get a sound on it, but sometimes they will give me a sound too. Um, there was one time where I was talking to somebody and I was like, oh, like, is this your godmother that we're connecting to? And she's like, no, it's not. And I'm like, oh, funny. Like, they're giving me my godmother, and my godmother's name is Cecilia. And she's like, well, that's who I want to connect to. Like, the girl's name is Cecilia. I'm like, oh my God. Right. So being on this end, my job is just to deliver whatever I'm getting without filtering it or trying to understand it. So it'll come through with feelings, thoughts, images, just a knowing. I think when we talked to one of your loved ones, he just came through with all of his personality and was like charming the pants off me. I was like, stop it.
Well,
you're like,
that's a
totally
trait. That's a trait in my family, unfortunately. You know, we're very flirty men. You know what I
right?
mean? So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, and I definitely wanted to kind of add that, you know, when you're getting these messages,
Mhm.
every individual medium or psychic medium, they're their own individual. Like they have their own beliefs and their own, their own ways that they've already have grown up with, and so when they decipher it, they have their own little spins that they added to it. You know what I mean? So you're not all going to read the same messages the same. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So that's why it does sound general, and from what I'm gathering, that's why it does sound a little general because
Yeah.
you might not guess, what it was first. But
Mm.
another psychic medium might, like right off the bat, they'll be like, "Oh, were they stabbed in the heart or something?" You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
they'll know what it's like. But
Yeah.
I also feel like maybe with experience too, it becomes now you start feeling these feelings, and then you're able to, you know, validate it quicker because you've now experienced it through other readings, right? So
Yeah.
it's fascinating stuff, guys, and there's so much we can talk about. Tara is going to be coming on regularly, and we're like, you see how she is. She loves to talk just like me. So
Oops.
there's just so many topics that we're going to talk about over the lifespan of this, really, essentially,
Yeah.
right? So I was gonna ask you another question, but I feel like we can save some of this stuff because I mean, again, you're gonna be coming on, and there's just gonna be so much stuff, and I know people are gonna start reaching out, and they're gonna have questions for you, and we'd love to answer some questions. Kind of. Tara and I streamed last night. We did a live stream together, and it was just she was answering questions for people, and it was so cool to see her in action, guys. And so that's is what I'm really excited about right now. So we're gonna dive into a
Okay.
reading. Tara's going to do a reading for me.
Okay.
I'm excited for this person. Now, she said try to be open minded, and this is kind of being contradictive now,
Yeah.
but I have my heart set on somebody that I want to come through. But she cannot guarantee this. So I'm going to let you, talk about your disclaimer right now, but it's just because you never know who's going to
Yeah.
be coming through. But anyway, you take it away there, Tara, and just explain
Okay.
to me and us.
Okay. So my disclaimer with every reading I do, right? I always surround us in love and light and ask that whatever comes through is for your highest and greatest good. And when we are talking with loved ones, like I said before, it's like picking up the phone and asking, okay, who's coming through for my client? So in this case, for you, right?
Mhm.
And then it's up to them to help me validate who they are. And I know that I've spoken with a lot of your loved ones previously. And so for me, I kind of get in my head, I'm like, okay, like, is this the same one? Like, you just trust so much in me. But as a new client, it's like, okay, I don't know them. I don't know anything. So it's a little easier to just like, okay, come forward with the information. So
Mhm.
um, no guarantees. I really hope he comes through loud and clear. I have an idea of who you want to connect to. So I'm going to ask specifically for him, and then it'll be up to him to kind of help me validate for you. I don't really know much about him. And we'll see. We'll see whatever happens, and hopefully the messages resonate. Something that's cool too is like our loved ones are with us all the time. Like there's no time energy difference when you are not on the physical realm. So they could see things that are going to be that just happened. So like I've had people be like, "Oh, like I feel like you were just with so and so, or you did this, or you bought this," and they're like, "How did you know?" I'm like, "No, your loved one was with you, and they're showing me that they know."
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, no guarantees, but let's see if we can pull them through. And this is the first time doing it like on live, so a little bit more
Yeah.
pressure.
Yeah. No. And definitely. I'm open minded too. So whatever message comes, it's coming on purpose. You know what I mean? Like so.
Yeah.
Regardless, I have a better understanding, obviously, through being your friend and really experiencing your abilities for a while now. It's been about 4 years now. And, so now I have a good understanding, and definitely I'm open to anything. So, I'm super excited, and I hope whatever's coming is just going to be great. I'm already have that mindset. I'm just, no matter what, this is not going to be bad or disappointing to me at all. Just having you here already is just, it's amazing as it is. And I'm sure a lot of people are just, blown away already with
Okay.
the way you are.
I have to tell you this because, side note, completely different, but I don't know if you know much about auras. Have we talked about auras at all?
Well, a little bit, yes, yes.
Okay,
Different
so
color auras, and
yes.
that sort of
So
thing. Yeah.
auras are like kind of like your energy that you're putting out. And this whole time we've been chatting, your aura has been glowing the whole time. And I'm really hoping that it like actually gets captured on the screen because it's cool. Like it's like
It's
white
like a,
and blue and yellow. So
ooh,
it's really cool. Like there's this really neat outline on you.
that's crazy, guys. Like I don't know if you like. I mean, I feel like it's like my lion mane. You know what I mean? Like it's, I associate my spiritual animal as a lion. You know what I mean? I've always kind of had that, you know,
Yeah.
kind of, calmness, but don't get me mad. You know what I
You're
mean?
a
I'm
pal.
kidding. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Exactly.
so when I'm gonna try to connect here for your loved ones. So I do usually close my eyes and then I kind of do like a little in myself meditation to connect. So
Yes.
just bear with me.
Yeah.
Well,
No. Do your thing.
okay, all right.
Do your thing. Do your thing. So. Sorry, I know there's a lot of dead air here, folks. So
Hey now, don't talk about the dead that way.
no, dead air, dead air.
I know.
No,
Tease
I'm,
it.
I wasn't sure if I should say something just to
No,
kind of,
no,
okay, folks,
yeah,
how's it going? No,
you're good.
but
Okay.
okay, all
Um,
right.
okay, so I do have an energy here. So I'm gonna see what he's saying. So first, and don't mind my eyes because it's like I'm watching a video play in my head when I'm getting messages. So just
Beautiful.
yeah.
This is
Um,
amazing. This is amazing.
you can see it, right? I can't. I've never seen it. We'll have to see it after.
I can feel the energy, by the way, too.
You
I
can.
felt
You
it.
can.
I felt the energy right away. Like I
Yeah.
felt it almost as soon as you started meditating. I felt like a really nice, relaxing, like
It feels like a
kind of like a
hug,
warm
right?
feeling. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I
When this
actually felt
energy,
like somebody patting me on the back. That's kind of
yeah,
what I felt. You know what I
he's
mean? Like,
coming
hey,
through. Awesome. Okay, so
yeah,
this is a male energy. I did ask for the one you really want to come through, and I know that it's your friend Gabriel. So
yeah.
um, I'm going to try to validate here that it is for sure him. Okay, so
Okay. All right.
first
Perfect.
first he showed me a notebook. So I feel like this is like, did you actually take notes before you kind of got out of bed? I feel like this is something you did this morning.
Here's
Oh,
and I didn't
okay.
show guys, she had no clue that was there. I
I had
promise.
no idea.
So I mean, this is kind of so this notebook is special because this is kind of the book that I use for my training, for my airline training, that sort of stuff. I bought it in Calgary too, which is cool, kind of close to where you are.
Okay.
And by the way, folks, she lives in Edmonton, so this is even crazier that she can do this from a far distance away, right? But so anyway, so I bought this book when I was in Calgary doing my training, and now I use it for everything. Like I use it to write my letters, to write what things are on my mind, what I'm manifesting, things that I want, and I write, if I want expensive things, for example, this is just an example. I
Yeah.
write down what I want. I look up how much it costs and I write it down so I have an idea of what, you know what I mean, what I'm striving for, what I'm trying to
Your
manifest in my
goals.
life.
Love that.
Exactly.
I love that.
So
Okay.
crazy.
The next thing he shows me is um so this is harder for me because I feel like he just like showed me his whole body kind of basically shutting down. It was, I don't know, I don't remember if we talked about this or not, but he makes me feel like he just kind of like he couldn't be in his physical presence anymore. Did he take his own life?
No, no.
What happened? Like, because they're showing me like I feel like there was like some
I know he had cancer. I don't know exactly where it
okay.
affected him, but it could have been something like that. It could have been a tumor. Uh, it's been a long time since he's
Okay.
passed. So, but I do know that he did pass away from cancer.
Okay,
So it
so
could
that
have
was
been,
his whole body shutting down, right? So
yeah,
that okay, so he didn't take his own life, but the shutting down is normally the vibration I would get for cancer. But then the other thing he also showed me is he made me look at your hands, and I was like, okay, well, why am I looking at Frank's hands? So I don't know if it's just I don't know what this is. So just a sec, right? Yeah. Oh my God, you have hands.
Hi, Hans. You know, and I just want to point out too, like, you know, Tara is validating and trying to figure out these messages. Like she said, she's watching a video, so these images are getting shown to her in a way, and she's got to try to break it down. So that's why it's not that easy. You know what I mean?
No, and this
It's
is
not.
why too, like when we were on the live yesterday where people wanted to connect to loved ones, I'm like, it takes time because I too want to validate for you. And it's not an instant thing. Unless like I said, like the biggest thing for validation is like, okay, you know what, I think so and so is here, like if the relationship to you. And then another quick validation, and then sometimes I can get a message because they do come through and you can feel the energy, but validating that who they are is like key, right?
Yeah.
Um, the other thing with Gabriel is like I feel like um, he just make me go back to like these childhood memories, and it just keeps replaying like like playing soccer and playing just these like fun little sports when there's like a bunch of you running around, and it's just like this like
Yes,
really good happy time. And I feel
it
like
was.
he didn't live here, did he? Like was this all when you go visit back home, like Costa
We
Rica?
So yeah, we actually met. We're both families from Costa Rica, and both our parents were attending the University of Guelph at the time. So we lived actually, yeah, we lived together in Guelph for a bit, but then they moved back home.
Oh,
So
okay.
yes, so we did continue the relationship when we would go visit them at their house, and we'd play sleepovers, that sort of thing. And they had three brothers altogether, and we had three siblings as well
So
with my
you
younger
guys,
sister.
yeah.
So yeah, so it was, we were all roughly around the same age. It was quite an incredible,
Like a little family
match.
unit, right?
Exactly, yeah. And I last year, before the pandemic hit, I was able to go to Costa Rica. My grandmother turned 100 years old, by the way, so I was able to celebrate that right before all this happened.
Okay.
And that's actually something I'll talk about maybe in the future. But I manifested that. Remember, I used to say, "I'm going to my grandma's birthday. We're making it happen," and it was
Yes.
just incredible how it all happened.
Yeah.
But I made a point on that trip to go call his mother and visit his mother and his younger brother,
Wow.
and because I was feeling, yeah, just they're very close. They were close to us, and we haven't seen them in a few years, right? And I didn't have an opportunity to express my deep sorrow for the fact that he unfortunately wasn't able to be here with us right now, and that
Okay.
sort of thing. And her, I was so.
He showed me a blue dress. Was your grandma wearing a blue dress for her celebration, or was it his mom? Do you remember a blue dress?
Oh, yeah, it's tough. I don't know. I
You
don't
have to
know.
look
I
back.
can
You
you
have to look
ask him?
at the photos.
Can you ask him like a little more specific in that sense, what like in what setting maybe, or what was it? Just trying to think who was wearing a blue dress.
And don't overthink it. Like it.
Yeah.
Let him do the talking. So let me see what else he's got for us. Just a sec.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm. All right. You can feel him heavier right now. Just a sec. It's his energy is really really big. Like I feel like he's just like he just hugs you so tight, right? It's a good
He
guy.
was he was such a smart
And
guy.
yeah, and
Yeah.
he just comes through with like he kind of was like the observer, but he like knew. Like, does that make sense? Like he was the one watching over everybody, but he kind of just had this smarts like about him of where like he's got you, but he didn't have to be always participating. He just kind of observed. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Yeah. And so. now that we had Gabrielle, I was going to save this story. But you know, when I was meditating that one time and I told you that I felt a presence, and when I asked you, I'm like, can you tell me perhaps if somebody did come to visit me? You know, he came. He was one of the people that came through. And I was actually not even talking to him. You know, I was talking to my grandfather, asking him a question.
Okay.
And then, you know, so for him, and that's kind of what I wanted to find out is like, hey man, like, you know, and I'm gonna start talking in Spanish soon because I also want to show, you know, that like you don't know a word of Spanish, but I also want you to know that like regardless, you know, the message that I'm, you know, that I'm gonna ask or whatever question I'm gonna ask, you know, you can still, you know, decipher it. You know what I mean? Which is
Okay.
really
We'll try
cool.
it. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, so like I get what you're saying in that sense. I think because I think he also knows that I'm kind of in control too. Like I kind of, you know, sometimes I get off, you know, I get off track from time to time, but
Yeah.
you know, he's just probably checking out on me, checking out, you know, hey Frank, you know, you're quite the fun, you know, you've had a
Was
crazy fun life.
he a bigger guy? Was he like bigger?
Yeah, he was a little stockier.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Because I'm just
Okay.
trying to feel him because he's just like he's cute. He's got this cute little face, but it's like he's bigger. He's just this bigger guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Okay.
was kind of a little
Great. So
bit.
you're gonna
And
stalk your
so I'm gonna save the story with the what I just said
okay.
for kind of the
Okay.
introduction to this podcast because it's really cool. It's really cool. So, okay,
Okay.
Gabriel, me hace mucho falta. Gracias por venir y visitarme. Primero que todo, te quiero preguntar si usted tiene un mensaje bueno, yo o para alguien en tu familia que quiere que yo, you know, lo pase a ellos también y no sé, si hay algo que me quiere decir, sobre una situación, algo que está pasando, no sé, dígame algo.
Okay. Okay. That was a
That
lot.
was, but it's,
See, my
it's,
goodness.
so hold on, I'm going to do my
Okay.
disclaimer. So sorry guys, my Spanish is, I call myself the Tico Gringo because I grew up, yes, I do speak a bit of Spanish. However, I speak Spanish like I talk English. So I'm not, you know, but I am fluent, but you know what I mean? Like, so apologize. Cause I know Latinos, you guys are going to be hard on my butt. You know what I mean? So it's all good. It's all good.
Okay. While you were talking, he very much just came through, and it was like this overwhelming sensation of he's like, "You got this. You're on the right track." You know, I have so much love for you, and you're coming through in such like this. Um, you've got this gift. He's saying he's like, you got to share it, and he's like the messages that you have for people and for, you know, and. He brought in his family and then your family, and he's like, you know, you got to kind of get them to like connect again. It was sort of like pulling from your family side, and then him pulling from his family side, and it was like, I don't know if you're supposed to be the middle person to reconnect these people, but there's this great energy and love between the families, and he's like, I would just love to see them all get back together, kind of thing. So almost like a party in his name. Good. And then he also puts me back into the planes. He's watching me watch you fly, and he just thinks this is really cool. And he's like watching you fly and going. I don't know. This is like he wants to fly with you. He's in the pilot seat with you, like he's your passenger co-pilot. That was the image he gave me right away with the conversation you were going on about. The other thing was like he just wants this. He has this overwhelming amount of love that he wants to give his family and let them know that he's okay. That everything that has happened through his life and what had to happen was part of his journey, and he's completely embraced it. He knows that it was like really hard to watch, and I think maybe this is what he was saying about the observer role is like it's his job now to watch over his family. Um, his mom, I feel like his mom, he's coming like the message I'm kind of getting is like I don't know if his mom's just not doing so well with her health or something, but almost in a sense that he's like been there extra for her. Is his dad passed away too, Frank?
No, no, no.
Because he separates his dad from his mom.
Yeah, they're separated.
They're separate. Okay.
See,
Because
and
every time,
that's amazing. I love that.
yeah,
And
every
just
time
so
he shows me his mom, he doesn't show me his dad. He puts his dad over here. So
okay.
I don't know. It's just a sec. He just the overwhelming message is just like he wishes people would know more about the power of love. Like every time that everyone has a question, it's like, what's the answer? It's love's the answer. So the power of healing with love, he's like, I wish people knew this. So this is part of your journey, Frank, to like spread this word. Like it is incredible what the perspective of love can do, right? If you're in a shitty situation with your family or loved ones or friends or what do you need to do? You need to send them love. And so he's observing this, watching it, and just sending this incredible amount of love for his family. But he's good. He says he's good, and he's just watching it and taking care of everybody.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Was there another? If I missed a question, ask it again in Spanish.
No, I was just going to tell people, obviously for the non-Spanish speakers here, all I said was, hey, I miss you, and thank you for joining me today. Do you have a message for me, and do you have a message specifically for your family? Whatever you want me to say or whatever you have to say, just let me know. And honestly, like literally answered it almost the way I asked it, like, which was incredible. So like, honestly, because he came through with the message for me right off the bat, right? Because that was the first question I asked.
Yeah.
And then he talked about his mother. So I don't know. And you know what I mean? And so I don't know if I'm going to dig too deep into that in the future, but I will pass this on to his brother to see whether or not, they want to watch it and see if it's, something that's cool. But I love the fact that he mentioned to bring the families again together, because there was something that happened between our fathers that really put a rip into the relationship as well. And again, it was out of not love. It was something, in my opinion, it was something silly. You know what I mean? But again, influences and all this other stuff definitely were a factor. I think for me, this is, I kind of wanted to ask a question in Spanish because I'm kind of trying to prove to the skeptics, like, guys, this is real. You know what I mean? But, Tara and I had this conversation the other day. She's like, you know what, Frank, like, you it's not about proving people wrong. You know what I mean? It's, I don't know if I feel so comfortable with that and all that stuff. And I say, I totally understand how you feel. But I also want to just let people know that, there is a different side of life. The spiritual side of life is surrounding us. The energy, the energy of the world. Like I was saying, I was driving home late. A few nights ago, I was driving home late, and I could hear the birds chirping so early in the morning. Like you're like, what the heck? Like the world, the energy is happening around you when you're sleeping. Like it doesn't go to bed. It's just it's incredible, right? We need to learn that we are all connected. Yeah. We are all part of this same energy source. And let's learn how to tap into it and use it to our advantage. You know what I mean? So it's amazing. Like,
I love it.
So he has an older brother that unfortunately has gone through a lot of bad things.
Is his name with a D or have a strong D sound, his brother? What's the D? Who's Daniel?
Daniel, I don't know. Daniel, do you feel Daniel coming through?
Yeah, I feel like a Daniel or
Daniel.
Yeah.
Daniel. Well, I'm thinking if it's Spanish, Daniel. I don't know. I don't know.
Who is Danielle? Is it a girl?
Daniela would be a girl. But no, I don't know where that kind of relates.
Okay.
To.
Okay, just be mindful of that. I'm not sure what that is, but a D sound keeps coming through.
Well, we call his brother.
What is his brother's name?
Well, it was a nickname.
Okay.
See if he can tell you. If he can tell you tell him to give you the fruit that it is, or the fruit. It's kind of like well, I guess it's not a fruit, but.
Okay. I don't know. I honestly, that's tough. Okay, hold on.
Ask him to show you what I'm thinking in my head right now. I know.
No
Don't
pressure.
worry. No pressure. I know.
I just kept getting like an orange or something like this. It's not.
It's similar. It's similar. Yes,
like
but you're in.
What is it? When
You're
you
in the ballpark.
it's not a fruit though, but you're like it's a fruit. So then my brain
No,
goes to fruit.
no, it's not a fruit, but it is round. It's big. You know what I mean? So try. Come on. I know you can do it.
uh oh my gosh, it's a nick. I just keep getting an O, like an O sound. What's this? What is it? Just tell us. I
Okay,
don't know.
okay. So we call them coco, which a
Oh, so
coco
the
is
O. So that's why I keep getting O.
coco.
Okay.
See, I wanted to see if you, whether or not, but I know I'm putting you on the spot right now.
Yeah.
But anyway, we used to call them coco. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
So
And
that
coco
makes
means
sense 'cause I
coconut.
kept getting O. I'm like, oh, it's just O. So I couldn't
Yeah,
get
yeah,
cocoa. But okay, that makes sense, right? So see how like I'll get sounds, but I won't get exactly all the time, right?
yeah, yeah,
Sometimes. But oh, I just kept getting
yeah,
oh.
yeah.
So
Coco, coco.
that's cool.
So unfortunately, Coco, I want to know for sure how he's doing because I haven't seen him. I think he lives with his father,
Okay.
and so father is taking care of him. And I just want to ask Gabriel, and I'm not going to talk any more Spanish right now. I just because I'm validated, like I know he's here right now.
Okay.
Especially with the kid memories too, like that for me was enough because that's my childhood. I remember just always playing with them, getting together. We used to go to like the little beaches that we have here, the man-made
Yeah.
beaches, that sort of thing, right? And doing those kind of things and just special anyway. But ask him if you know how his brother's doing, and obviously if he's watching over him as well, and you know,
Okay.
if
All
there's
right. Okay, let me see here for a sec. Okay. Yeah, so when I when I ask him about Coco, okay, so right away it's sort of like he's on this journey as well. So he's kind of looking into like he showed me him kind of sitting underneath a tree, almost like a nice, calm, peaceful presence with his brother. So his brother, I think, does have he stresses a lot, he worries a lot, he has a lot of anxiety. But I feel like he's showing me this peace and calm that he's getting a handle on it. So he's coming back more towards this like calmness. He's understanding maybe just like taking time out and resting and relaxing is what he showed me as the image, right? Like this nice, like, okay, the weather's good and he's sitting under the tree, kind of like a meditation. So I think that whatever he is going through, he's finally getting some resources to kind of just put him at ease and doing better. So yeah, I think that he's okay. Coco's
okay,
doing okay. He's
good.
got some stuff that he's working through, but overall, like he's on his way to living a happy life, and he just makes me feel like he's there for him.
All right,
Um,
awesome.
yeah, he just keeps bringing me to this like really pretty picture of this presence of he's just taking some time out for himself. So I think if he kind of makes me feel like when his brother does do self-care, he kind of disappears from people. So he must kind of he's probably an empath and just didn't realize it because he kind of needs to disassociate to get back to himself is what he shows me right now. So I think he's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. 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 Yeah. Like I said, I definitely want to connect to their father as well. The next time I go down, I just
Mhm.
connected with their mother, but I definitely would like to see his father and Coco the next time. So I will definitely make an effort, Gabriel. La próxima vez que voy a Costa Rica, no se preocupe. Quiero visitar a tus papás de nuevo y tratar de juntarnos de nuevo, ¿verdad? You know, spend
Yeah.
time together like we used to. So I'm just saying that next time I go to Costa Rica, I want to join us together and get our families back together again. And I think that would be really nice.
It'd be a nice
Oh,
surprise. He comes through with like an overwhelming amount of thank you and like thank you for connecting and like understanding like
yeah,
he's not
that's
gone.
him.
He's just
That's him.
different. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's him. And he spoke like three different languages. He was always so like he was just very intelligent, guy. You know, the one night that I'm getting emotional right now. Hold on.
Well, me too.
But the night that I found out that he passed away, like I got super drunk in my garage, and
Oh,
I just kind of, and I was listening to music, and I was talking to him, and really, Gabriel, I just want to know, were you there with me there? And I know you were, obviously, but do you remember, the feelings that I was sharing with you, and I was sad because I was like, man, you never got to experience having a wife, having a child,
Yeah.
having, a life like this. And I felt really, disappointed in that sense, that you didn't have that opportunity because you were just such a special guy. And I
Yeah.
knew that if he did have that opportunity, he would have been a great father also. And, coming from a divorced family too, like it's never easy. It does affect our relationships too, right? And so we have to take it upon ourselves to kind of work on ourselves in order to not repeat history, which, you know, it's not easy for everybody, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, so, you know,
Yeah.
essentially, was he there with me that night that I was kind of crying my eyes out and doing all that
Um,
stuff?
yeah. Yeah. I really believe that he was, Frank. The amount of love he has for you and support, and he's like, I'm okay. He's good. Like this is part of his journey. He was meant to go then. He was meant
Mhm.
to come through. Now he's he shows me that he gets to experience all the things that you want him to experience in just a different form, and being there now. um your garage, he kind of makes me feel like it's just like an open space garage where there is just chairs, and I don't know if you had a beer fridge or something out there, but it makes me feel like you had easy access to whatever you needed to drink. um yeah, he loves you a lot, Frank, and he's just really grateful that you're connected to him, for
Yo
sure.
también te quiero mucho, Gabriel.
Yeah.
Gracias
And
por venir.
he just keeps throwing me this, mwah, mwah, thank you. Mwah.
Un abrazo, hermano. Un abrazo para siempre, pura vida.
Yeah.
Um, well, anyway, I guess, it's just such a special, you know what I mean? The good thing is that, I was hoping if he'd had like a real message for his family that he could, but it sounds like everything's good. I think really the message for me now that I'm going to take from this is really try to bring our families together again. Because
Yeah.
even when I came back from my trip, I was telling my mom about it, and she's like, you know what, I should go visit, their mother next time too. I should make an
Yeah.
effort because we were close. We
Yeah.
spent a lot of time with them. Like, and I know our parents really got along well. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. And it sucks when obviously we live in different countries and that sort of thing, but those are excuses, right? Like
Yeah.
you make time for the people that you want to make time for, right? And
True.
I really
Yeah.
feel that it's important for me. I'm very nostalgic too in that sense where I like to dive into my past and say thank you. I recently just made a phone call to an old boss of mine, somebody who gave me the opportunity to learn how to frame. I called him recently and I
Right.
thanked him and I also apologize for showing up drunk and you know what I mean, like
For being a kid.
for being a kid, and
Right.
but again, like for me, it's very important about the love and what I keep preaching is this isn't just something you do, it's a lifestyle change, it's a lifestyle, you know what I mean, like once you're filled with the right intentions and the right feelings, the right emotions, then you're able to give it so much easier, and but I don't want to sound like, hi friends, how are you, like when I do follow people on social media and I find they're just so like, oh, I'm in an air balloon and I'm floating above the world. It's like
Uh-uh.
I still want to be myself.
Yes.
Like I still want
Yes.
to like show my raw emotion and
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like
I
I
love that you're saying that, Frank, because everyone who knows that I'm spiritual, like I don't fall in line with the spiritual people who are like, barefooting it, and always wearing clothes that are completely from nature and doing yoga all day long. Like some people really think spirituality has to be like this, like so organic granola type
exactly.
of thing where I don't brush my hair anymore kind of thing. And it's like, no, no, no. Honestly, if you break it down, spirituality is just having love in your heart and trusting
Hmm.
that, your life can be full of joy and abundance and happiness. And that can look different to everybody, right? But
Exactly.
ultimately, it just comes down to really having that love in your heart. And that's it.
Yes.
Just knowing that you're connected to a little bit more, right? Like I still swear, I'll still go party, I'll still like, do crazy things and whatever. I'll get mad at my kids or whatever.
Exactly. And that's something that's important to, through talking and just explain that it's okay to have feelings, and they can be positive or negative feelings. You have to listen to what your body's telling you, your thoughts, what they're telling you. If you have these angry feelings, well, there's something that needs to be addressed. You know what I mean? The key is how we're going to help address them. You know what I mean? Help to show you to address them, and that's kind of been something that every day there's something new, something I could have created in my mind. All of a sudden I'm like, for example, the podcast, I get anxious still, like I get nervous, I get, it does develop a bit of anxiety because I'm worried about, oh my God, are people going to laugh at what I'm saying? Or, do I sound, stupid, or, you know what I mean? And again, I'm just being hard on myself. And again, I'm just trusting that I have a positive message, and just my aura, I guess my aura seems to be good. And I really just want to, that's kind of what I want to do. Right. And this is an amazing platform in order to do it. And I'm creating the reality that I want for what I want to see in the world. You know what I mean? I want to see more love and support and respect for one another, because there's a lot of craziness. I mean, obviously what happened recently in London, Ontario, where somebody just, trampled over a family from were they Syrian, or no, they were a Muslim family, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, come on, really, does this still need to happen, folks? We live in the year 2021, we need to embrace each other's cultures. We need to embrace all their customs, because there's so much that you can learn, you know what I mean? And I'll give you an example. When I was living up in Northern Ontario, I had the opportunity to date an Indigenous girl, and she was able to teach me so much about their culture, and they call the God creator, the creator. Okay. And it's such a beautiful name, because I mean, essentially it's source, you know what I mean? Yeah. And they even have kind of like a 10 commandment, but it's a way of being and a way of living. And it's just so beautiful to learn and to have read that. And I mean, folks, if you guys can just Google it, find what it is. Because if you see it, it's like they have such a beautiful way of living, you know what I mean? But yet I feel like they're caught in a very, just in a rut when it comes to how maybe our government has not really addressed that well, or in a sense they've relied on us too much, you know what I mean? And it's like, I feel like there is a lot of, again, this is just from my observation, and I'm not judging. So I just don't want people to misinterpret what I'm trying to say, but there is a lot of issues when it comes to some of those communities, and it's from both ways, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that we're doing enough, you know what I mean, as residents of Canada, to really address these, their situations, their problems that they have. And I also feel like, both sides need to collaborate on a deeper level, you know what I'm saying? So to a mutual understanding and just respect for each other's cultures, and understand how to collaborate so that they can both win, in a sense, right? Yeah. And again, having that opportunity to learn about that culture, their music, their dances, like it was such a really cool thing. The feathers, what they mean, and their clothing and certain things that they do, how they live with the land, you know what I mean? Like, they were living here before Europeans came with the land for who knows how many years, thousands of years probably, right? Until we came and the Europeans were like, this is the way it is, progress, to march on, now we're more like a capitalist society now, where it's all about the money. It's turned into a crazy world, and a lot of pressure have been put on people, you know what I mean? And we got away from working together as a community, working together as everyone helps and does their part for the good of all, essentially, you know what I mean? And so that's kind of my goal, and my vision for all this is to kind of try to create a reality where we can get back to that, and we can help each other, and we can support each other and love each other. And it doesn't have to be your family, right? It can be your neighbor across the street. It could be somebody halfway across the country, you know what I mean? And we're, we give that love to each other, you know what I mean? So, it's absolutely crazy. And we need to stand up and rise together, folks. That's the only way we're going to do this, And, So
Yeah.
with that being said, though, Tara, thank you so much, and we're gonna talk so much more, guys. Like, trust me, she's gonna be coming in more, and we're definitely gonna talk more about different topics and different
And
you know
empowerment and how Source just can help you live your best life, right? So,
exactly.
bring more joy, bring more happiness into everyone's life.
Actually, you know what? Before I go, I do have one last question
Sure.
because I did talk about in my last episode talking about connecting to source and how we
Okay.
can do that. So
Okay.
I mentioned meditation and perhaps getting into some sort of religion, studying that. But is there any other way that you know of that we could connect?
Um,
Um,
well, on a side note of like the religion, like I don't want to use the word religion because every religion usually has like a fear-based thing. So spirituality is separate. So
okay.
there's no connection to religion here in spirituality. Like religion can form a basis for some people, and if that resonates with you, sure, good, go for it. But ultimately, spirituality just comes down to love in your heart and knowing that love is the answer and creating your reality out of a place from love. Love is an action, right? So, but to connect to source, yeah, like if you haven't really felt like your intuition isn't all that strong, then doing a meditation does help for sure. But a meditation can be as simple as just sitting down comfortably for a few minutes or laying in bed even for a few minutes before bed and just being like, okay, like what do I need to know today? Or send me some love before bed. But I've even meditated like, when you're just outside and you are sitting in the grass, or it doesn't have to be anything. Honestly, for a lot of people, daydreaming is really meditation. It's just the intention of connecting to something that's greater than you and knowing that it is going to help you live your best life. So if you put out the intention, no matter how you do it, whether it's meditation or you're just kind of off in daydreaming, or you
Mhm.
just sit quietly for a minute or two to just say, okay, you know what, if there's something greater than me here to help me, guide me, and just
Yeah.
allowing that presence to come into your life. But yeah, meditation is probably the easiest way to connect. And when you're just like, for me, I'll just talk, like, now that I know like how it feels in my body and my heart and soul, I'll just talk to them like, okay, what do I need to know? Or like, okay, can you tell me what to make for dinner tonight? Like, as simple as that. Like, source is there for you for every question and desire and need.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, meditation for sure. The religion part, I want to keep that separate from spirituality. I do, because it's it's an organized thing where spirituality
Yeah.
is,
More man-made in a sense, right? Like,
yeah, where
yeah.
spirituality is like it envelops everybody no matter what religion you are. There is no separation in
Mhm.
spirituality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Um, I guess I was going to say you kind of answered another question that I had. I was
Sure.
thinking to ask you as well. And it was about like using Source for your own life. Like now that you have this kind of cheat sheet in a sense, right? Like you
Yeah.
have, like you have the opportunity to really look into your life too, right? And ask
Totally.
questions about, things like that. So,
Yeah.
you basically answered it. She does use it obviously
Yeah.
for her every day as well, right? Which is,
Yes. Yeah,
it's really
like I
cool.
really try to just listen to my intuition, whether it's, um, what do I need to do for today? Like every day, every day, almost every day, I sit in a meditation, just like I sit, like there's no right or wrong way to meditate. I want to say that, like, as long as you're comfortable, like for me, I usually just sit for a few minutes each morning and be like, okay, what message do I need to know today? And then the other question I ask is, where do I need to put my focus? And those help me a lot because if I know where to focus, then like the stress kind of goes away with all the other like to do items. So
Mhm.
that's how I use it on a daily basis. When it comes to bigger things, like let's say if I'm applying for a new job, I will even ask Source, like, okay, which jobs should I apply for so that I don't apply for 100, right? I'll like kind of just trust on where to apply. So you can ask for everything, even for kids who are doing tests, for example, in school. Like before you start writing your test, be like, okay, Source, like, help me write this test and guide me to get the answers. And honestly, without knowing this in the high school and university, I did this all the time. Like, okay, God, like help me out. And I don't even know
Yeah.
how I got a university degree. I just trust that it happened.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But yeah, you can use sources there to help you for whatever is for your highest good. So ask away, ask and use it and trust it, and you will build a stronger intuition every time you ask for more information. Use it.
Yes.
That's,
Amazing.
we're allowed
Amazing.
to, supposed to. It's part of us.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Thank you so much, Tara, again for joining us.
You're welcome.
And
Thanks for having me.
I
Fantastic.
wish you pura vida. You know what I mean? That's my new sign out. You know what
Yes.
I mean?
Yeah.
And I think being born in Costa Rica was, really meant to happen and meant to spread the love that they have. They've been voted for a number of years now, one of the best places to live
Yeah.
in the world, right? So, and it's not a coincidence. You know what I mean? It definitely is a lifestyle. But again, it's Latin America because it is like the wild, wild west there. Let me tell you, for people that like it's nice when you go to the beaches, but when you're from the city, it's crazy, guys. It's too much going on. It's crazy. You know what I mean? But I have so much love for where I'm from and all that stuff, and I'm sharing it with all you guys. So,
Yeah.
Tara, thank you so much. This was awesome,
Thank
and
you.
I can't wait to do this again with you. And thank you for taking time out of your schedule as well. And have a wonderful day. Thank you again.
Thanks, Frank. It was a
All
pleasure.
right.
All right.
Yes. Awesome.
Take care.
Same here. Bye.
Bye.